started here. It's the Capital Budget Committee meeting for December 8th, 2025. We'll do a roll call.
Our Dormits are here.
Kathy Forrest here.
Chris Peich here.
Rob Casemeyer here.
And Susan Franklin present as well. All right, so the first thing on the agenda, Kathy, is public safety update.
Yeah, so we had a meeting of the Public Safety Facilities Working Group last Thursday morning. And the architects and the OPM attended that meeting. They had been asked to prepare in advance a couple of potential changes to the plans. So one thing was if we were to not build the fire substation, but maintain the fire substation area for a potential future build of a substation, how they would change the plans because they would need to move utilities around. So they had that. They also had some internal changes where they changed the locker rooms to unisex locker rooms, which I think is something that's been happening lately in new builds. So the locker rooms would be unisex, so you would have your locker there, but then all of the changing areas and all of the showers would be cubicles from floor to ceiling to provide the privacy needed. And there were a couple of other changes that were made. There was a lot of discussion as well then about what potential changes could be done, how savings could be made to the site work. So if we didn't have to excavate behind 135 King Street. And then we had a lot of discussions about parking because one of the problems is that without excavating behind King Street, you run into the issue of not having much parking because of the patrol cars. And then if the EOC was to have a big event and a lot of people were to come to it, between the patrol cars and the people at the EOC, there wouldn't be enough parking. So there was a lot of discussions around parking and what could be done there. There were suggestions from some of us that maybe they should put the EOC in Elm Street and perhaps think about moving IT or Safe Harbor up to King Street because they would require less parking. So there was a lot of discussion, a lot of good discussion. Not everybody was in agreement, but everybody is looking really hard and brainstorming on how to reduce the costs for both 135 King Street. We haven't really started talking in depth about Elm Street yet, but that is in the future. So the architects are headed off to do some more work, particularly around parking and site work. And then we also think the next meeting is we want to do a deep dive into Elm Street and what the current proposal is for Elm Street.
So I recall, Kathy, that some of the limitations for parking was the septic system in the front. And then, of course, the grade in the back.
That's correct. And the septic system in the front it's actually underneath a parking lot, but they don't really want to do any digging. They could repave, but if they start digging in the area of that septic, they will likely be required to have to put a new septic in, which could be more expensive. Another limiting factor with putting parking at the front is that the DOT actually owns a good bit of that land from 3A up. But I think I think the working group will continue to pursue the potential to see if we can do some more parking in that area, maybe think of some other drainage solutions perhaps. There were a couple of different potential parking configurations that would add some parking, but it would be kind of doing some retaining walls near around where like the fire substation was supposed to be. So the fire substation land would be used for parking, but you would need to have some retaining walls for that, or you would have to build some sort of a elevated structure, which sounded like it was getting very expensive for adding, say, 5 or 6 parking spots. So we have not. We're looking at a lot of things with regards to parking at 135 King, but there's no easy solutions. But we'll continue to look at that.
Does anyone have any thoughts?
Kathy, any thought at all about just reconsidering a few of the potential other sites? Now, I understand why some of them can't be done, so I'm not any doubt about it. There is potentially one that no one's really talked about much, and that apparently is a piece of adjacent to Whitney Woods, actually, opposite the Stop and Shop. We'd have to own it, we'd have to buy it, but it's flat and its potential is simpler. Everything about it's simpler. Anybody talk about that?
Yes, there was a discussion, and to be honest, I don't recall, but actually Glenn just sent out some note about is it the CJC Highway at no, not at the Whitney Spur Trail. Land between Stop and Shop and Red Fox Lane, the Esposito land, corner of 3A and Sanctuary Pond Road. Are you talking about the,
There may never been have discussion. I have had a discussion
do
about
you
that.
have the address of it? Something, is it at 132
I don't.
CJC Highway?
I'd have to go back to Glenn because both Glenn
Yeah.
and Don Stasko knew what it was.
The town doesn't own it?
No.
Well, it's adjacent to the parking lot that is now used for Whitney Woods. And that's almost directly opposite, not quite, the Stop and Shop Plaza. But anyway, the only reason to continue to push on that at all is that it's clear that the difficulty of working with 135 King is going to be, we're not going to get a lot of gain and cost out of that. And that's the problem with it all. So anyway. And so what you're looking for is something that will be accepted by the public. So, and the key thing will be the price looks right. The way it's designed will look right. I mean, there's a lot of things that will go into making sure this thing gets through town meeting. So
Yeah. So I'll ask Glenn about that as well. I think that it was not big enough, that location. I don't think there was
Okay.
enough acreage, but I will confirm. I
Okay.
think that was the 132 CJC, Chief Justice Cushing Highway.
that could be.
Because there was a note that it could be used as a potential future fire substation,
Okay.
which makes me think that maybe it wasn't large enough for the police station.
Okay.
But I will check.
Okay.
So I just have one more question, Kathy. When you were talking about not building the substation now, but saving space for the future, but there was a utility issue,
No.
relocating the utilities or something like that?
No, in fact, the utilities would be relocated kind of behind more where the detention center was. And it seemed like it was almost better. I think the electric was getting moved to a better place because it was closer to the, I don't remember the words, the thing that brings all the electric in. Sorry. So they didn't seem to have an issue with moving the utilities at all.
Oh, okay. I just
Yeah.
misunderstood you. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No
And
problem.
also, in fact, there was in one of the plans where they removed the fire substation, and one of the plans they actually closed off the door on that side of the building. But we said that if we're going to move forward that way, they should continue to have a door on that side of the building so that there would be a way to adjoin the two properties if we decided to go with that in a future date.
I see.
Kathy, was the architect, to your knowledge, ever asked what could be done to reduce the costs substantially from what was prepared before?
So the way the architects work is they get like a program. So they get an understanding of what the activities are, and then
No,
they
I understand that.
design from there.
I'm
Yeah.
asking, but the issue,
They
yeah.
will not answer that question.
Okay.
They will say, we're happy to do that if you tell us what programs you want to eliminate or reduce.
Okay. Not helpful.
So you're just basically saying the exercise at this point is not giving us any idea of savings or,
No, that's right. That's
Okay.
what it sounds like.
Well, I mean, no, because the locker room, for instance, is a savings, and that means that the utilities will be moved to where there used to be a couple of conference rooms and wellness rooms. So those spaces will be reduced. And in order to free up space in the main building, they've made some adjustments as well as reduce the space of the locker room footage. So they are trying to be proactive about looking at how to fit the programming into the space that we have. So I
Mhm.
wouldn't say that they're not being helpful at all.
no, I'm just saying that we won't have a dollar figure until we kind of settle in on the programming we want, then we go and price that.
Correct.
Okay.
They still have 2 bedrooms actually for the police, Kathy, in there?
There's no bedrooms for the police.
Okay, that went away. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
There-
Are you talking about the dorms for the firemen?
No, that was separate entirely. Yeah, no, Bill Quigley had talked about guys who stay over on a snowy night at 16 hours or something, and they need some place to lay down. And he had originally programmed something in. That should not, obviously, we don't think that's something that could be eliminated quite easily.
Well, you know, I think the holding cell is 3 beds, so they have some capacity issues there.
The holding cell.
Any talk about on the Elm Street when you get to it about actually having a conference room there rather than at 135 King Street?
So we've been talking about moving the EOC to Elm Street.
Okay,
It's a contentious issue, Ralph,
why?
because people, I think, want the EOC to be where the police are. And there was also a concern, is Elm Street susceptible to flooding? Which I think based on some of the studies that the Woods Hole folks have done, it's not in the flood zone. It's right outside of the flood zone, but it's not in the flood zone. But some members of the working group are continuing to push on that as a potential option.
Mhm.
Um,
Glenn doesn't need much for himself. He just needs a big space for a big group of people. That's all. Yeah.
Exactly. He needs, I think the current square foot in King Street that they've got allocated is 1,100 square feet.
Yeah.
So we would have to find him 1,100 square feet in Elm Street that would kind of fit a conference room in it. We don't know whether we can do that or not, but it's something that we will continue to ask questions about.
Okay.
And the reason why we are interested in that is almost solely because of the parking issue.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
All right, so next up on the agenda is the fire department. Let's see. Is Michelle still here? Oh, there's John. Hi, John.
Good evening, everyone.
How are you?
Evening.
Good evening.
Good. Thank you for having me this evening. I'm here to talk about the fire department's capital request for FY27, which would be replacing our engine 3, which is a 2001 fire engine. Currently, cost right now is $1.2 million to replace the engine. I met with Chris and Kathy a couple weeks ago, went through the programming of it. It's just building the same truck we already have now. What's driving the costs? The engine alone to meet the APA exhaust standards is $230,000. Again, because we're in the Northeast, we get a galvanized frame and stainless steel body. So those are the cost of metals drive up the cost of the truck. We're just trying to buy the exact same thing we operate now with. No extra bells or whistles. So that's where we stand. We'll be looking to trade in the 2001 truck. I'm waiting for the dealer to come down with their appraiser or adjuster who determines what the value of the truck will be when it comes time for trade-ins to see what the value would be. So that's where we stand. The current truck that we're trying to that we're going to turn in, the 2001 has 103,000 miles on it. And it has over 10,000 engine hours on it. So it's been put to work while it's been here since 2001.
Yes, and Chief Dockery, you gave us a nice tour. We saw both the engine 3, which would need to be replaced, as well as engine 1, which would be a similar truck to what would be replaced.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
So
And noting that the engines 1 and 2 are currently, let me get this right, Pierce.
correct.
And engine 3 is a different manufacturer. So we would then have 3 engines of the same manufacturer, which would also be good to have a consistent engine.
Yes, we'd standardize all our equipment. And again, this would help our apparatus. We try to maintain for 25 to 26 years lifespan. The first 8 years, the vehicle is the lead primary engine. Then it moves to the second spot, which is the second due engine out the door. And then towards the end of its life cycle, it becomes the reserve piece. But it doesn't just mean it sits in reserve. We also will staff it. A couple weeks ago, we had the bonfire in Beechwood. Engine 1 and all the apparatus was tied up. Off-duty members came in and they staffed that, the spare mechanical engine, and went on a couple medicals while we were tied up in Beechwood Street at a fire. So it's also used too when the water department has major water outages, broken water main or something. We'll staff that and put it in that neighborhood because there's no water. And so we need to at least get some kind of at least 500 gallons of water as soon as possible to a building fire if there was one due to a major water break or they're shutting down to replace a water main. So the truck gets used, even though it goes, it's at its end of its life cycle, it still gets used weekly. Just not as much as the first 2 lead engines.
And Chief, can you talk a little bit about the lead time for getting an engine?
Yeah, so right now the lead time is about 36 months once we sign a contract. We're not asking for anything custom. Compare the engine 1 and engine 2 has some custom components to it. We're reducing the custom components and going to be standard. So it's about 36 months for turn on once we sign a contract with the manufacturer and the dealership. And also they can help with financing if we need to.
So did you review the options that were on the old one, and do you actually use all of them, or do you need all of them? Yeah.
Oh yeah, everything we use. We're not, like I said, there's no extra bells and whistles on the truck. It's the same thing. Cabinet space, water that we carry 500 gallons of water. It's a 1,250 gallon pump. It's carrier for all our EMS equipment in the front cab, and carries the 1,500 feet of supply hose and 3 additional tack lines. It's got a 6 kilowatt generator. So it's replacing what we have now. No additional features.
Oh, you just as a side point, you forget. Didn't hear you say that it's also used whenever Cohasset wins the Division 7 football. That came by. They drove by Chris's house the other night at about midnight or so. It seemed to me with all of everything going.
Yeah, right, Rob, I didn't even notice that, but that's good to know.
I guess, Chief, what is the actual condition of the 2001 engine right now? What is its operating condition?
It's in reasonable shape right now. It's operable, but it's got its wear and tear on. The paint's faded. It's tough to get parts for it when if it breaks down. Okay. So, but again, if we push this off, then we keep pushing off the life cycle of the other two engines. So we keep kicking this down the road, and the price is going to keep going up. Again, we'll be fighting inflation with this. And it's the cycle. Standards are the first two pieces, 15 years in the front, major primary fleet of the department, and then after that, it can go to mechanical reserve. But most
Okay, so
apparatuses doesn't go beyond 30 years.
so context here for to correct me if I'm wrong, Kathy. These things have a 25-year useful life, and that engine has run its course.
Yep, that is
Sure.
correct, Chris. We're coming up on that. Yep, 25, we'll have 25 years of service to the community next year. And so it's run its course.
But from a financial perspective, it's not a wasted asset, but it's a declining asset.
Yep, like most vehicles.
Hey, John, can you remind me a little bit about when we rebuilt one of these engines a while back? And I just need you to remind me whether that was mostly body work and stuff like that, or if it was engine work. Do you recall?
I can't recall us doing any rebuild on the major rebuild on the apparatus. I know that we had the ladder truck get sent out and had the whole frame repainted and corrosive measures applied to it. But now that we buy the galvanized frame rails and stainless steel package of the apparatus, we don't have to send it out for body work. I can tell I started in 93. I know we had an 87 piece that got sent out probably like 15 years when it was in service for major body work. And then we had a 94 truck that got sent out probably like 2008 or so for major body work. But those vehicles are no longer in the fleet. So reason we go with the Northeast package, it prevents all this body rot and frame rail rot. So we get the full use out of the vehicle.
Chief, the rationale, as I see it, for replacing this engine is really just a 25-year. It's just a number. What is the broader rationale? In other words, most times when you think about a spare engine, which is what it is, you would think about, well, what is it that why am I replacing that at this time? If in fact it's operating, has no particular corrosion problems, the engine is working okay. The rationale isn't clear that 25 years is in anything but just an arbitrary number that has been set aside for some time. But not necessarily the rationale is correct. That doesn't mean anything. What means something is if the apparatus is no longer usable, is failing, it wouldn't work when needed. I mean, all of the normal things you would ask about a piece of equipment, you'd have to ask, not using just the 25-year number, because you're coming up on next year or the year after, you've got the whole other question, the same thing, and probably a $2 million expenditure on a ladder truck. So, you really have to ask, where am I putting my dollars these days? My instinct is you want to definitely put dollars on your ladder truck because you don't have a replacement for that. You don't have an alternative. You need it.
Right.
It isn't so clear on the current 2001 engine based on the fact it's in good shape. So I'm not asking you to argue it or not argue it, but I look at it and just sort of, I'm looking at a cost benefit on this whole thing. I'm saying, what do I need to do? What do I need to spend money on? And I know I need to spend money on the ladder truck if in fact that has a problem or isn't suitable for its use in the future. But you have two other engines, right, which are much newer. Anyway, that's my sort of broad
Yeah, so if
underlying
I can interject, I kind of think we're looking at this all wrong. We're not replacing engine 3. We're replacing engine 1, right?
No,
We're buying something that's going to become the front line engine,
correct.
which currently is engine 1, which was purchased and has a model year of 2018.
Correct.
So right now that engine is 7 years old. And how long do we normally keep a frontline engine before we move it to second line?
About 8 years, 7 or 8 years.
So
So
by the time
you get
if we
that.
order this new engine, by the time we get it, engine one, which is our frontline engine, have been placed in that front line for 9 years.
9 to 10 years.
So if we wait to order it, we add more years onto that frontline engine. So I don't think we're talking about replacing engine three per se. I think we're talking about replacing our frontline engine with a new
Well,
frontline engine,
yeah.
which just moves everything down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's what John was saying,
cycle.
the waterfall of the vehicles, right, John?
Yeah.
Correct. It's
You
the
replace
cycle.
third,
Yep.
you move that replacement to the first.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't think the state of engine three matters as much as the state of our frontline engines.
Correct.
Okay.
So John, when the dealer would take this back, what are they looking at it for parts, or is it still going to be usable for somebody's purpose?
I don't know. I'd have to ask the dealership that one. I don't know. I know some old vehicles, like for prime example, Brockton traded in a couple vehicles, and one of them ended up down in a third world country in South America and blew up Instagram on the fire service because they never took any of the lettering off of it, and they saw it somewhere down in South America, and people were like, "What's Brockton Fire doing in South America?"
Well, if we go back to the issue that Ralph was talking about, it sounds like you know the I'm not that familiar with the engine in this vehicle, the engine in this engine. In other words, the power plant in the engine. But the power plant in um, um, normal cars is lasting 2 or 3 times the time that it was 10 years ago. And my assumption is that the same is that they're using the same technology approaches, different size stuff, but the same analyses, material improvements, and so on. Um, the way that so one wonders how long the engine would last now. This gets back to the age, whether 25 years is something that probably was absolutely made a lot of sense 25 years ago. Does it make sense still? Should it be 30 years or something like that? That's the fundamental question, it seems. I don't know how you answer that, but there should be information on that. I would assume that the manufacturer, you would have a sense of that in terms of the amount of service that this requires versus something else when you are doing this 10 or 15 years ago, or 20 years ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there are standards, and like I said, the standard is for first due piece of apparatus about 15 years. So engine one and engine two, like engine two is coming up on its 15 years of lifespan as a first due piece of apparatus because it was purchased in 2010. So again, it all goes back to the cycling of kind of moving engine one from primary to secondary and then taking engine two and moving it from secondary to the reserve piece. And even though it's a mechanical and it's a reserve piece, it still gets used weekly. We have callbacks. Again, we have issues with his water main shutdowns. Like this past weekend, it was at Hingham Lumber because they had to shut down the water main to Hingham Lumber for adding a hydrant there. So the vehicle gets used. It just doesn't sit in the corner. It's also getting used.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
So, it's wear and tear. It's, being used. So it's just not something that's just housed here, and it's a great, nice piece of equipment to have as a backup. But it is because prime example, like engine two needs to go out for tie rods, and I got to ship it to Brockton. It's going to be out of town for 2 or 3 days, and engine three and I'll be running in engine two spot as a backup, to engine one. And then engine one will have to go out because it's got a leak and it's got some sensors that need to be replaced. Engine two goes to engine one spot, engine three will now be run out the back door again. So it's still getting used.
Absolutely. Now the question is just, my question is just, I know that I'm more familiar with just the car business, and cars last a lot longer than they used to last. And my assumption is that these vehicles should also. The second point is gets to be the lifetime, the life cycle value of an engine. Probably drops off pretty quickly, and then it's levels off and goes slowly after a while. And so the question would be, that also would be the angle of that, you know, um, of the value decline should have something to do with the amount of maintenance that's required and so on for it. So we're not trying to make your life miserable on it in terms of scheduling stuff. We're just trying to see is the world changing here, and should we take advantage of that if we can? That's all.
Okay. Yep.
So Rob, so Chief Dockery is like quoted what the standards are from the NFPA. I don't know if I got my
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so those are the years he's been giving you. We could ask the manufacturer, although my bet is the manufacturer will have a vested interest in telling us that it's a shorter life than it actually is. So my question for you, Rob, is where do you think we could go to kind of independently verify what the actual useful life of these fire engines are beyond the NFPA? Like, is there something in the car industry that you get that information from? Like, where is a
That's a
good
good
place to get
question.
this data?
I don't know whether Ward's Automotive or anything like that have the go into this class of service, or whether or not the the analyses that go into other kinds of big
Mm,
vehicles, are also, cover this type of vehicle or so on. I never have had direct dealings with American LaFrance or any of these people that work in this industry, so I don't have direct communication in that. But I would guess that, but it's probably, um, but this is an industry that people follow. Um, the automotive industry and the truck industry are followed very closely. So probably there is information that's available that I just don't know it off the top of my head.
I think the only comment I would have, Rob, I agree with you that technology has improved, but I think we're talking about vehicles that are youngest of which is 7 years old already. So have you seen that kind of technological improvement in the last 7 years on cars, or is that newer?
Well, there's been a lot of improvement in cars over that period of time, and even with the focus on, the electric vehicles and all of that focus on that, the other vehicles are, as you know, they're just people. The used cars are in very good shape, and they and everyone in the industry, all of the, and by that I mean, in my experience, the Caterpillars and the Cummins and those kind of people, uh, if they can buy parts from that are designed by General Motors or Ford or Toyota or any of those people, they'll get them. So you know, I would assume the same would be true in specialized vehicles like the ones we're talking about here. So, uh, and obviously, what John has said is that our vehicles are the options that we use on it. We've learned also, and they last longer. You know, the galvanized and the kind of steel coatings are better than we used 10 years ago or 15, 20 years ago. My guess is that they're substantial. We can all thank Toyota for that, and but they they've continued on in the improvements. It would seem to me, but I don't know. And all that throws into question the concept that Ralph was raising earlier, which is, what is this 25 years based on? Is it based on how we've done it 25 years ago, or is it based on what the industry is it, based on the something else? I think Chief, did you say that this vehicle had 100,000 miles on it?
Got 103,000 miles on it, 10,000 engine hours on it.
Yeah, if nowadays, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, in the car business, that was, you wouldn't get much more than that. But now in the car business, there's an awful lot of people that get 200,000 miles on the engine. So I don't know whether that's true for your engines also, but my guess is that these are sharp people. Automotive engineers do a good job. They don't, they're not sleeping under rocks. So I don't know the best way to get more information on, how long these things, what the life would be and how long it lasts right now. But that's the issue that we're kind of tossing and turning over, it seems to me. What do you think? What might be good ways that we could find out how long this engine could last?
So I'll follow up with the NFPA standards for fire apparatus, and get that to the committee.
Can you get it for mileage or some other way, just
I
rather than just years? Because
I
doesn't
I don't
doesn't
think
seem like,
I don't think they write it into mileage or years because every department runs apparatus completely different.
yeah,
And some apparatus have respond to more incidents than others. Some apparatus have longer response times to incident addresses.
yeah,
So there's all kinds of factors. The other thing too is some apparatus could be pumping for hours, some may not pump as much as others. So that's why they base it on years and not really mileage and hours. Like you take a piece of apparatus down in New York City, their response times are well within the 4 minutes, so they don't travel as far, but they could pump for hours.
yeah,
So that's the other thing too. What's what's their response areas? We don't have high rises, so we don't have to get high pressure pumps.
yeah.
Some of those
Right.
all kinds of different factors of what kind of community the apparatus has served over the years. So they just standardize it more to years of service.
If you could push them on that to get, maybe a way to look at it is would be the value that the drop off in value over time. Maybe that would get at the useful life of a how the useful life of a piece of equipment is changing.
Okay.
Because you're absolutely right. There's 100 different factors that could enter into it, from the pumping to not just the
Yeah.
mileage, the
Yeah.
timing and all that jazz.
Right.
And then, like we have no, winters up here that we're taking sometimes these trucks through some salt water. We try to go down Atlantic Avenue or Border Street when we have an extra high tide,
Oh, yeah.
and then again, we're traveling through, luckily the last 2 winters, we haven't had snow and salt and sand. But again, we're out and about when the weather's not the best time
Yep,
of year. So,
I hear you.
that takes a toll on the apparatus too. So
Mhm.
that's why, again, it goes to years of service. But I will reach out to find out about the drop off of the value and so forth.
Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome.
Yeah, John, I think that would be very helpful. And then maybe one other data point would be what our repair costs have been on that particular engine one, the one that we're going to be rotating down. What
Yep.
those costs have been like on an annual basis.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Any other questions on the engine? No? Everybody else set?
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks so
Chief.
much, John.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, so next on the list is DPW. Hey, Brian,
Good evening, everyone.
how are you?
I'm well. How are you? Hope you're all doing well.
We are.
So DPW requests this year, we have 4 items. I'll go through them quickly, then we can go into more detail individually. We've got one of our 2 signboard replacements. That's our first request. The second one is to replace the axle hub and split rim tires on our 99 catch basin cleaner truck. That's really the one of a kind in our fleet. The third one is to replace a 97 John Deere tractor, which is a frontline piece of equipment for our tree park and snow removal. And the last item is replacement of our 2001 Pelican street sweeper. We've had some discussion on it in the past, and bring that forward for more discussion. So going back to the first item, the signboard. So the 2 signboards we have are over 20 years old, or 25 years old. They're the bulb. They're not LED lights. They're the bulb type lights. One of them is totally not functional, and the other one, the battery will not take a charge, so it needs to stay kind of plugged in. We're proposing to replace the non-functioning one now, and then in 2 years replace the other one. We use it for, you see it at the RTF. We use it for traffic incidents, events, and towing it around town for soliciting snowplow drivers. We're using the police's VM sign right now for that. But it's an important piece of equipment that we use pretty frequently. Do you want to do these individually, take questions on each, or just run through them all?
I think that's probably easiest.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll take any questions on that signboard if you have any.
So what's the
Brian,
amount of money involved in that, in the single replacement?
So we're getting all the items I'm talking about tonight. We're getting updated quotes, but we have a price point of $20,000.
Okay.
Brian, how many of these in the whole town have we got? I know the police have got at least one.
The police have one, and we have the 2. So there are 2 functioning right now. One of them is really not mobile because the battery won't stay charged. But I believe there's 2 right now, including the police ones.
Okay. No other ones. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Are the batteries separable from the unit? Can you replace the batteries?
We've replaced the batteries. I think it has to do with the solar. There are solar charging units.
Okay.
And beyond that, it's really the the components, the bulbs, and it's not supported anymore by the manufacturer, so we can't get pieces, as
Okay.
breakdown. So the newer ones, you've seen them around, are just LED, programmable, Bluetooth, a lot more functional.
So
This
Brian,
is
it
not
looks like,
on,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Brian.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that both our signboards were purchased at the same time, the ones we currently have.
I believe so. They're the same vintage. So. The police, their unit's a lot newer. It's an LED unit, I believe.
I think the LED units will last, the lights will last a good long time.
Right. That's why we converted our streetlights over to LEDs a few years ago.
Yeah. I have no more questions on this particular one.
I have no questions, right?
Then we're all set on that. Thanks.
Okay.
Brian.
So the second request is for $15,000. It's to replace. So the issue with this is, again, it's a 1999. The truck, it operates okay. It has the catch basin cleaner, the claw on the back of it, which is really our front line catch basin cleaner, our only catch basin cleaner, and it's a requirement of our NPDES, our National Pollution Elimination Permit, to clean catch basins and the sediment to keep it from going in the waterways. The front tires on that are double. It's got a double rim and they're split rims, and replacement of those tires are very hard to come by. And what we're proposing is to replace the front axle and rims and tires with, a single tire with a more readily available nominal tire instead of these unique split rims. So it'd be refurbing the front axle on this older truck, but the truck works fine, as does the catch basin cleaner attachment.
What's the age of this one, Brian? The age of this truck?
1999.
1999. Okay, all right.
It's not used for plowing or sand. It's really just, you see it on the sides of the roads cleaning catch basins.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And then taking the material back to the yard for dump.
What's the state of the rust of the chassis and or of the box on that one?
So talking with Carl about it, he says the truck's in good shape. It's really just getting right now the tires. We need new tires, and he can't find them. And really working on those split rims are the issue. So he feels he can get a few more years out of the vehicle just by being able to service the tires.
Okay, because the question has always been on these trucks is the chassis rust out or the box rusts out. That's been an issue. So if it's not happening to that one, it's worth repairing. If it is happening to that one, it's not repairing. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, my understanding is, and I haven't climbed under this one, but is that it's not doing plowing and sanding routes, so it's probably in a little better shape than some of the trucks of the same vintage that have been out there exposed to the elements.
Okay.
What would a replacement cost for something like this be?
We're probably looking at the 99, probably looking at 175,000 maybe.
Wow.
It's got the specialized crane claw on the back.
And what was the purpose of the split tires in the first place, the double tires? And do they make them now with just the single tire? Is that?
They just make them with the single, so it has a double back tire, but the front double tires, I've never seen a vehicle other than this vehicle that had double front tires, and the split rim is pretty unique. I don't know why they designed it that way. It was something I suppose they liked back in '99 with the model.
Does anyone have any questions, any further questions on this one?
No further questions here.
Or no further questions.
Susan, I don't see Chris on the
Yeah, I
screen
know, I
anymore.
listened to him. Dropped off.
All right, so the third request is for 75,000 for, and it's replacing a 1997 John Deere 5400 tractor, which is frontline tractor for tree and park, removing snow on sides of roads, as well as brush clearing. And it also has attachments with a power drive for mower decks and things for towing behind it. So again, we'd be replacing the 97 with, they don't make the 5400 anymore. So I think it's a 5500E model is what we're proposing. John Deere 5500E, which is the equivalent model of this today.
I'm just looking through the rolling stock. It says it's a loader. Is it a loader or a tractor?
It's a loader tractor, right? It's a loader. It's a
Okay.
loader listed on the
Rolling stock.
rolling stock. Yeah.
Okay. So it's like a tractor with a front loader.
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost you guys on the screen. There you are.
And so the new, the replacement would come with the all of the options that you need on it.
Yeah, it would come with the power drive, and it would be compatible with, our attachments and accessories that we can use, John Deere accessories in the tree and park garage.
How has its maintenance cost been over time?
So it's end of its useful life in that they've had to repair it several times in the past few years. I think it's really just, it's kind of worn out. I don't know any particular items on it. I think just in general, it's not operating at its max, lifting capabilities and power. And it seems to be, it's coming up on 30 years old with a lot of use.
So Brian, would you mind just giving us a sense of how many of our yellow iron items here are used for snow removal?
What was it? The yellow items? Is that what you said?
Yellow iron, like how much of the yellow iron is used for snow removal? Because I thought that we acquired a piece maybe a year or two ago from Hull.
We did. We got a sidewalk plow, which was a snow blower.
Okay.
A different. So it's basically a power snow blower with an option to do plowing of sidewalks as well.
But overall, we have how many units? So I mean, I see other backhoes, multi-use machine. Like a lot of gear.
Yeah, we try to keep it. I mean, two of our requests are just kind of trying to keep our older gear going with change outs, and
Yep.
Carl and the guys do a good job doing their own oil changes and tires and brakes, all in-house. Also washing down equipment that have been out in the elements pretty frequently.
So I don't know, I'm kind of just eyeballing it, but it looks like there's two loader backhoe kind of configurations. Actually, three loaders
Yeah, I'm just opening
used
up.
for different purposes.
Correct.
And one of them the one that's over at the TF?
We have one at the RTF. We have the one that you just purchased for the grave digging, and then this one on the tree and park.
Okay, so this is the one that's mainly being used for snow out of this.
Well, it's mainly it's tree and park activities. Removing trees. Moving materials on the side of the road. When we do have large windrows on the side of the road, it's used to move those snow piles around.
Mhm. Anybody have any thoughts on this? I mean, it seems like a pretty multifunctional unit, and clearly the one we have is aging out.
I guess the only question, Brian, would be is, could you postpone it a year or two? Would you postpone it? I mean, is it urgent now? In other words, the big question. That's really it.
So it's still operating. It's old and tired, and as we go through our list, and I think we update our rolling stock list each year, and this has been on the list. So it's up for discussion as it needs to be replaced in the shorter term, but it's functioning. So yeah, could we get a year?
Okay.
I'd say yes.
Okay.
Unless it breaks.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Oh, is that Chris raising his hand? Wait a minute. Can I see him? Can't see him. Oh, it's Ted Carroll.
Oh, there's Chris.
There's Chris. Chris is back. All right. Chris is called iPad.
Yeah,
CC.
I can't get my picture onto the
Yeah,
gallery.
don't worry about
I can
it.
hear you.
Have you been out the whole time or listening in?
No, I've been on, but I can't get my picture and my audio
Oh, okay.
going.
All right. Well, did you have any comments or questions for Brian on any of the items he's been discussing?
No, I didn't.
Okay. All right, Brian. We can move on to the sweeper then.
So the last one, this is the bigger ticket item of the list. It's for $300,000 for replacement of the 2001 Elgin Pelican street sweeper. So it's the only street sweeper we have. It runs at max velocity, 5 miles an hour. So it's really not functional. When we do have to use it, right now for our street sweeping, part of our NIPD's permit, again, like cleaning catch basins, we have to sweep the streets every spring after the winter salt and sand season, and we've been contracting that out each year since this unit has been kind of becoming obsolete. Roughly, this past year we spent a little over $51,000 with contract operators. So at $300,000, we're looking at like a 6-year payback. The other thing with this is, we don't always have a contractor at the ready. We have to schedule them weeks in advance, to do our spring cleaning. And there are times where, we may have a truck spill or something happens in town where we have to get the sweeper over there. And I'll give you, for instance, we had to go down to the water plant with our sweeper to do some work around the sludge lagoon, and it took him about 3 hours to get from the DPW garage down to there at the max speed it could go. So the sweepers and brushes work, but it's just it won't go fast, and it's at end of life. So either we continue to contract, or we look at maybe getting a newer unit in house. And this one is 24 years old, so I would say a 20-year life cycle is something that could be reasonable on a new unit.
But could I ask like a finance question? If Brian has been having $51,000 a year in his operating budget to pay for the street sweeping contractors, is there a way to transfer that to the capital budget over the next 6 years to cover the cost of the street sweeper?
So that's a good question. We don't have that in our operating budget. We use road money to do road work, including our street sweeping and our maintenance. So it's coming out of our road funding.
Is
Which
that the road and sidewalk fund? Is that
Currently, yeah. I mean, before that road and sidewalk fund, which is I think 2 years old, it was a capital budget. You know, you'd give us 300,000 or 250,000 a year, and it would come out of that. So it is limiting the amount of road paving that we can do. Currently, our road funding budget is 800,000, and that will do. Generally, we try to get a main collector road done, and a couple of smaller side streets. And there's a lot of sidewalks coming up on the list as well.
But we could, this is again, it's more of a question for Susan and the rest of the group. We could borrow to pay for this street sweeper and the annual costs come out of the road and sidewalks fund. And then when 6 years is done, that borrowing isn't in that fund and it gets the benefit of the street sweeper.
Well, I think what Brian is saying is it's at the detriment of paving roads. And back in the day, Ralph remembers, we used to give about 300K a year to roads and sidewalks before we developed the stabilization fund. What about leasing it? I'm just curious, these are long life assets, and I'd be curious what an annual lease payment would look like compared to paying $50,000 a year to have somebody contracted to clean our roads. And on that 50, Brian, was that specifically just for that, sort of big time cleaning that's required by the NPDES, or is that for general cleaning and maintenance too?
No, it's generally done between March and June every year, and that was how much we paid in that time frame.
Yeah. I think it might be worthwhile just to get a quote and see, because 50,000 a year, I would imagine that this easily leases for 7 to 10 years, being the type of equipment it is, and right there alone, the payment's going to be less than 50.
Yeah, no, it's covered. I know you helped us with the roll-off truck a few years ago, and that worked out well. So we can look at the lease option and see what that looks like.
Also, I think you got to be a little cautious about what fund you charge it off against, Brian, because I'm not so sure that the roads and sidewalks fund actually contemplated that kind of an expense. But anyway, so
yeah, I mean, there's a lot more. Everyone thinks roads and sidewalks just paving, but there's a lot more maintenance that goes on with. We have guardrails, we have drainage structures, we have a lot of appurtenant things, and crack sealing things, and street sweeping is part of it's the road maintenance, so it
kind of belongs in over there, though. Yeah.
So I mean, I'd be happy to get a $50,000 operating budget line, but I don't see that coming anytime soon either. So, but yeah, no, I'll look at the lease on this, and we can, I guess, when we reconvene and talk about it again, go over that option.
Also, Brian, is there a possibility this thing could be bought cooperatively with another town, for example? We talked about that, used to talk about that, right? That there are other towns that, you could share, because it really is a time between March and probably June or May that you got to use it, and then it just kind of sits idle for the most part. I know it gets used a little bit otherwise, but it would seem to me that we did once talk about cooperating with somebody else on this thing. So
we did, and it was it's really just the crunch time before everybody wants it at the same time of the year, and I think that was kind of where it died, where we try to get all of our we get everything swept, and we try to get all of our lines painted by Memorial Day for just for summer activities, and everyone else is trying to do the same thing. So the shared resource. I think when we talked about it before, there was an interest from Hull or Hingham, and they weren't interested in letting us borrow and have our operators operating their equipment, with some sort of arrangement. So it died there, but it's creative thinking. We can kick the tires again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Ralph, the ideal town would be Montevideo, Uruguay, because from a seasonal standpoint, it's probably not cost effective to.
Couldn't you work it out? I thought you could work those things out.
Yeah, well, you probably can.
I mean, I guess a question is if we bought a brand new street sweeper, maybe we could rent it to Hull or Hingham if they needed some extra sweeping.
So along with the lease thing, I'll reach out to Situate, Hall, and Hingham and see what I believe they have newer units, but I'll see what they do for their own operations and what they have, and if they'd be interested in.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if they have many more, I don't know what the square miles of all of them are, but maybe if they have many more square miles than we do, a little bit extra street sweeper capacity might be welcome without having to buy a whole new one. So you could become a revenue center, Brian.
I tried that with the RTF and I kind of got shot down.
Yeah, we'll put a street sweeping enterprise fund in front
Yeah,
of
there you
the
go.
town
Sounds
meeting
good.
and see how it goes.
Okay. All right, Brian. If you can find that information and just circulate it back, through email, and I'll share it with the committee. We
Okay,
can
great. So
follow
I'll reach
that.
out to that same leasing company we used for the roll-off and see what they can do.
Yeah, sometimes the actual manufacturer of the sweeper will have a leasing program. Like
Okay.
Elgin might have their own.
Good idea. All right, great. Well,
All right.
thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Okay, Ted. That's doing. Hi, Ted.
How you doing?
Okay, so Ted's with the Recreation Department. And Ted doesn't have any specific items for this this ATM season, but we thought it'd be good to have him come in and talk a little bit about what he knows is coming down the line and whatever else he might want to talk about. I did talk to Ted a little earlier today, but I'm going to let Ted drive the bus here.
Yeah, I guess the one big thing, I know I talked to Michelle about this and Brian Joyce about it probably about 5 years ago, was the parking lot here. If any of you have driven in here at all recently, I know we should definitely wait for the library project to end, but this parking lot does need a lot of work at some point. It's been a staging area for a few projects recently. Riley Brothers National Grid were here about 5 years ago doing some work on the street. So just a lot of potholes out there. So I know Brian gave me a price like 100,000 back when the basketball court was done. So I'm sure it's gone up since then. But I just want to put that on your radar for that. And the other thing I talked to Susan about too was the basketball court here. It's been great. We've had about 300 kids every summer playing basketball, but it's so heavily used that it will need to resurface every once in a while. We noticed it last summer with some of the little bit of rain that we had. The sandy grit was sort of lost a little bit on it. So it's just something we're keeping an eye on.
So Ted, when you talk about resurfacing, because is that in the paint itself, the sandy grit, or is that
Yeah,
second
they add a little sand to it. So,
okay.
and the only other thing I talked to Michelle, I know she's on the call here, about just a vehicle. We used the senior van, one of the old senior van during the summer to bring kids down here at 3 o'clock, because we host the after camp program here. So there is a senior van over there. There's a bill due for some work that was done. I know the new senior director reached out to me about it. But I know Michelle mentioned to have any conversation with you guys first about any vehicles for us. So.
Yeah, so let's just go back to the resurfacing of the paint. So when we talked about that earlier today, Ted was saying that this is something that is probably on a at the most a 5-year cycle. So,
Yeah, it's used a lot for young families on bikes and all sorts of, things on tires. So we're out there a lot trying to get them off, because we do see it. We see the damage. It's been 5 years. I mean, and it's, like I said, very popular court. Every day after school, they're here. I mean, they're not here out tonight, but they'll be out here on a regular night too. So it is heavily used. Beechwood just being redone is going to help us a little bit. So hopefully, it'll take some of the pressure off this court here too. So, but with the brand new lacrosse wall right next to it, it's going to be a very popular spot.
mhm.
So,
I just bring it up because I asked Ted to put that into his 10-year plan that, we're going to be resurfacing that on a regular basis.
Yep.
As far as the vehicle goes, Ted was asking me whether capital budget has to opine on him adopting a vehicle. And what I told him was, and you guys can correct me if you feel differently, that we don't really opine on him adopting the use of a current vehicle, but we just like to know how many vehicles are actively in use in the town. It should be listed on somebody's inventory of rolling stock. So Ted, the van that you are using, which van is that?
I think the oldest van in the lot over there. So I think it's number 3. I don't know if you know what numbers, but I drove it a few times this summer myself. So we do go over there every day at 2:30, pick it up and use it for a half hour. So it is the older version, not driven anymore. So
It's the
8-seater.
the one with the wide body on the top, that one?
It's got a handicap ramp. It's 8-seater. I know
Okay,
'cause we're limited to how many kids we can bring down with us.
yeah.
And have you ever looked into using a school bus?
We'd have to get a real driver for that. The nice thing about the 8-seater van is that any of us could jump on it real quick and just go pick some children up, bring them back down here. So.
Yeah, so Ted, you can tell us a little bit about, if you could elaborate a little bit about the circumstances that where you use the van. I know you mentioned a couple this morning.
Yeah, so we have, after camp is over at 3:00, we have our after camp program here. Number one, to get out of the schools. Number two, because this is air conditioned here, and the kids also go to swimming every day as much as they can. So we do have about 20 or 30 kids that come here every day after camp. It's sort of our after school program, but during the summer. So we do bus. It's usually sometimes 2 or 3 runs to get the kids down here. We have a lot of kids already here already, but we're averaging 2 or 3 dozen kids. So we do go make 2 or 3 runs up there to bring them down this way.
Mhm.
And you bring them down to that site because of its proximity to the pool?
Pool, plus it's our prop, they like to get us, they don't want us in the school, plus it's on air conditioned. This is air conditioned.
Okay.
On a bad day, we can go up to the library. And then if it's a great day, we go right over the pool. So.
Plus you have the courts and
Yep.
things there for them to use.
Got it.
Okay. So Ralph, I can't think of a reason why we would have to be involved in it at all, because he's not asking for any kind of funding. He's just asking to, be the beneficiary of one of the older vehicles that gets passed down from other departments.
Yeah, I suppose we should. I don't really know any reason to reject it. The only thing I have sort of is in the back of my head is that we do not understand even now the growth in the number of vehicles in this town. And over the past 5 years, I'll bet you we've added 5, maybe 6 or 7. There's a point after which you have to say, when are we going to ask ourselves, why are all these vehicles, why do we have so many vehicles, and that has changed so dramatically when in fact the actual population of the departments has not increased substantially at all. So, I would want to know exactly why we would add still another vehicle if in fact it's not a replacement. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, so this vehicle exists over at Elder Affairs. It's just not being used. But I hear what you're saying, and that was the same comment I had to Ted, is that we just want to know all the vehicles that are in town.
Yeah,
And
sure.
to your point, are we just stockpiling, vehicles, or not?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I didn't see a rolling stock list for Elder Affairs. I'm not sure whether we've received all of the rolling stock lists or not.
I don't believe we have, but I do know that we replaced one of their vans a couple years ago, right, Ralph?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay,
Susan, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, I can't get on the gallery view here. I can't get into the group.
Yeah, we can see you, but we can see that you're online, but we cannot see you.
I know, I'm trying to fix that.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's more, because we can
All
hear
right.
you and you can hear us, so it's more
All
important that
right,
you just,
fine,
if you
fine.
have any comments for
Fine.
Ted or any questions for Ted.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So the other thing Ted mentioned this morning was, well, you could probably give us a update on the tennis courts. They're complete, right? And the second process took place, and
Yeah, we
on
opened
that,
up,
everything.
we opened them up in November, early November, late October, so nets are still out. We have some temporary pickleball nets up there now. But we're looking to buy a couple of nicer ones that'll last longer. The temporary ones right there are just sort of the cheap version of one, so. Yeah, so the courts are ready. I think we're just trying to decide when we're gonna take the nets up for the winter. But they look great. So,
Excellent. So on the pickleball, wasn't when we talked about adding a pickleball court, when we did the project, one of the courts was going to be pickleball, and we were going to put in some pickleball, and then we just opted to what? Just I
This-
don't even know if we lined them for pickleball, but
the court number 6 is lined for two courts side by side.
okay.
So the netting and the tennis netting is the middle of the two courts. So they are lined right now for pickleball court number 6.
Okay, so it's two of them. Okay. Unless you have anything else that you wanted to tell us about, any of your other projects that are, do you have any projects that are yet to be completed that were funded previously?
I think we're good. I mean, the Milken Field House is done. The lacrosse ball is here. Yeah, everything's looking good. And
So,
Beachwood looks great.
so
Yeah.
Ted, this isn't coming from me, but I have been getting lots of unsolicited opinions about the placement of the lacrosse wall. And people just really don't like it where it is. And also wondering if there's a way to like tuck it closer to, I have no idea, but what I would say is you might want to chat to people around town about how they're feeling about the lacrosse walk, because I've been getting some bad vibes about and didn't even solicit it. People are just talking about the lacrosse walks.
I
Just
think,
so you know.
I mean, Michelle, I know, Michelle wants to chime in, but I know a couple of things are we have a little issue with the stormwater along the train track. So we had to stay a certain amount of footage away from there. And then one of the things that I asked for was to still keep me some green grass. So, we have 100 kids here every summer.
Mhm.
And one of our most popular programs is a soccer clinic on Saturday mornings in the spring and the fall. And it just, I was hoping I made a plea to have some green grass out there. But then I think the lacrosse people like the fact that they could use the lighting from the basketball court for kids to play. So a lot of different variables. So I've heard the same thing.
And you can use both sides of the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. How about a nice tree?
We used to have them.
Well, they're back. So the trees are back. Yeah. So they're
Okay.
close to the sidewalks, the parking lot. So
Maybe you want to talk to Kevin Perry and ask him if there's any way he can get the information out about why the lacrosse wall is where it is.
okay.
Mhm.
Because what you just told me was very reasonable and good information, and I think if people understand that,
Another approach would try to make it less visible, to paint it something green or blue or something so that it didn't stand out so much.
Yeah, I did ask the company that installed it. So I'm just asking for a second opinion because Just, I don't think it's time to cure a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
So I mean, we are looking at some artists too to, do something on the wall too. So yeah, I agree.
Are they commonly painted?
I haven't seen it, but we actually found a photo recently of a one that was painted, which is I forget what town it was.
Yeah,
Uh,
the only reason I ask is because then I think, well, then we're gonna have to repaint it.
Isn't it gonna get chipped with all those balls, those hard balls whacking at it the whole time?
Yeah,
I mean, Situate's still gray, so I know it's the same company, so
Yeah.
it's gonna reach
Mhm.
out to them and say what we can do, so.
right. Okay,
Sorry, I know that was off topic,
No,
but
it's
thanks,
okay.
Ted.
Good.
that's okay. All right, well, I don't have any other questions. We appreciate you coming before us, and if you could just work with Michelle to get that 10-year plan updated with the repainting.
Sure.
And think of those things elsewhere, the maintenance pieces that are part of your,
Okay. Yeah, we're in a good place right now. Michelle did a great job with all those projects, so.
yeah, very good.
Okay,
All right, Ted,
that's
thanks
great.
so much for
Okay,
coming.
thanks. I'll see you.
Bye-bye. Okay, so discuss the agenda for the next meeting is next, but if you wouldn't mind, I'd rather just knock down the minutes first. Did
So,
everybody-
I don't know if you saw, Susan, I sent some comments on the minutes.
Yeah, I actually already put your comments in and I added a couple of my own as well to
Perfect.
to the minutes. So I'll put them on my screen so people can see what was changed, because it's got the markups on it. So can people see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, wait a second. How about now?
Yes.
All right, so these are the minutes for November 10th. And just a couple of cleanup. I changed lifespan to useful life on the description of the assets and the paragraph on the police department. And on the public safety, Kathy had a change to this last sentence here, which I think clarified the sentence much better. So we probably don't need
That little quote.
carrot. Again, just wordsmithing. Did anyone else have any other comments on the minutes from the November 10th meeting?
Nope.
Do you want a motion to approve these?
Sure.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay. Roll call, vote. Everybody vote
Aye.
to approve?
Yep.
Rob Casemeyer, aye.
Art Dormitzer, aye.
Chris
Right.
Pike, aye.
Okay, great. Okay, so the meetings, the minutes of November 17th are next. Same thing here. Red line, that was Kathy, that was your comment. I added website instead of just web.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, we're trying not to call it a committee because it's a working group.
Right.
We need to be,
Yep, right, again, here, these were just clarifying comments that, again, the
Yeah.
working group discussed, the working group talked about. And I don't believe I had any other comments elsewhere. Did anyone else have any comments on the November 17th minutes? Do I have a motion to move the minutes?
motion to move the minutes, approve the minutes.
Second.
Chris Pike, second.
Okay. And just a quick vote, everybody.
Kathy Forrest, aye.
Rob Casemeyer, aye.
Art Dormitzer, aye.
Chris Pike, aye.
Okay, Susan Franklin, aye. Excellent. Minutes are voted. All right, so now let's go to the agenda. Next week, we will have schools.
I will not be able to attend next Monday's meeting.
Okay, that's all right. I met with schools. They really reduced the number of items that are coming before us. You're going to recognize some of them if you were on the committee previous years. Things like the parking lot at Deer Hill, and things like that. But some of the repeating items that we've had year to year are not coming before us, like the Chromebooks. So it's a much smaller population of items than we're used to receiving from schools. More digestible. And Sarah's going to do a summary for us that will be available prior to the meeting. I'm hoping I'll have it by midweek this week, and all of the backup materials as well. And I haven't really talked with Michelle about other departments that might be available to come before us. I guess we can talk a little bit about from the standpoint of the liaisons. Harbor, we know that they would just be coming to give us an update, a big picture update like Ted did, because they don't have anything in the 10-year plan. We already spoke with library, schools, facilities. They don't have anything either.
I think it's just water and sewer.
I think it's water, sewer, and IT.
IT.
Yeah, IT, right.
Okay. So I'll reach out and find out which one of those groups may be available. And if it's IT, then the IT liaisons, which I believe that's you and me, Ralph, we could spend some time with them. It's usually pretty complicated, the IT presentation.
Well, luckily we have our top people on it.
Okay. All right, so I don't have anything else other than, we'll review, if Brian gets us the materials we asked for tonight, we can go back and review that, and we can also review the materials that come from fire to answer the questions that we had earlier.
Also, I don't know if anybody saw that Bronnie sent a follow-up email about the Dropbox.
Okay.
She probably sent it a couple of weeks ago. I can paste it into a document and add it to the library folder if that's helpful for people.
Sure, that'd be great. Or if you want, I can do it as well.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
I think they just cruised around and looked at other Dropboxes and other places and
Okay.
just had some information on that.
So we'll just review basically those three things and do schools and either sewer, water, or IT, depending on who's available. So the last thing, topics not reasonably anticipated. I just wanted to follow up with anybody on the committee who's new and find out if they've done their ethics training course. Has everyone done that?
I have.
Rob?
I did an ethics training course. I don't know that it was for this though. So, but if it was something that was sent around, was it?
Another committee?
Did you, pardon me?
You did it for another committee or purpose?
It would have been for a different, I don't know. How can I check to see if I did it for this one? Will it allow me to, will it tell me that if I try to get in?
I don't know. I just know that at the end of it, you can print a certificate that you can submit, but I'm not sure.
I wonder if he calls the town clerk's office, if he calls Beth or Lisa.
Yeah, I'm sure Beth or Lisa could walk you through finding it, and they might even say that they have yours. I just don't know. I'm just making sure that everybody has them. And the last thing I just wanted to update everybody on Troika. Troika has not yet met. They were hoping to meet on December 1st, but it did not happen. And now it will be happening after December 9th because Ellen is not available until after December 9th to have a Troika meeting. But what I do know is that there were 3 applicants. two of whom both Ralph and I have spoken to, but the other one I just found out about today. So that's all I know about filling in our open position. Unless, Ralph, do you have anything you want to add?
No, the one person that I thought would be terrific decided she couldn't do it, which is too bad.
Mhm.
So there was a
Yes.
great candidate. Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
All right, well, that's all I had on for other topics. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to add?
Well,
before-
the question for me is, it's Christmas season and you have just the schools coming up. And we have 3 months to do all of this and we only have schools and IT. My suggestion is not to do a meeting next week. And in fact, I really could use the time. I'm not spending any time on things I should do. So if Kathy can't make it, it would be best if we postpone it. We do not need to push it any harder than necessary right now. So,
Okay, I don't have a problem with it. I just have to reach out to schools. It was tough getting them to commit to a date on the calendar, but I think they'll probably feel similarly. But you're right, we're a little bit ahead of the curve and we do have some room. So, Ralph, are you recommending?
I'd certainly move it to January. Obviously, you're not going to move it between
January
Christmas
5th?
and New Year's, right? But you can't do that.
All right, I'll see what I can do with them.
Okay, great. Also, the advantage of going later is that you get much more complete stuff. You get actual quotes. We're not getting those these days. The 5 and 10-year capital plans get better developed. Going early means we lack a lot of things we always used to have. So it really is better to go later than earlier. I don't mean go to March, but I certainly, at least in January, to get going again. And make sure that what we get is absolutely everything, including the quotes, direct from vendors, all of those things which make it much more complete and accurate. So,
Yeah, we have been getting a lot of that stuff, but I think today, like Brian didn't have his quotes, but I also think Michelle had some medical stuff and wasn't ushering the materials today like she normally does. But yeah, well, you're right. I'll try to collect as much as we can. We know what the items are, so I'll just write to every department head and tell them to start getting the materials in there. So they're
And
ready
I'm
for
happy if
December.
we can get the rolling stock from everybody to like add a tab to our big file where we track everything and add a tab on vehicles, right? Vehicles per department that we can start tracking going forward.
Yeah, I think so you're saying take all the different department rolling stocks because they each have
Yeah.
their own individual one and
Yeah.
put them into one spreadsheet on multiple tabs.
Yeah, we could have like, a heavy equipment category and then just like a regular vehicle category, which might be like SUVs, pickup trucks kind of thing. Does that make sense, Ralph?
oh yeah, I think we should.
Yeah.
You can do it by department. That's perfectly okay. I think even by department's fine.
Yeah, but we'll add it up, right? So we can
Yeah.
see in total what
Yeah, we can have
happens.
like a summary page is what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do a department and category, and you can
Yeah.
subdivide it into a department. Like DPW will have several different categories of equipment. So like
Yeah.
there'd be trucks or there'd be cars or whatever. So it could be by department and then subdivided within the department by type of
Right.
vehicle. So
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
Because the schools are in the same position, having subdivided between buses and vans and other cars. So
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. All right then, if no one has anything else tonight.
No.
Call for an adjournment. It is 8:06 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Second.
Ralph, Rob, second. Okay, everybody. Just voice vote.
Kathy Forrest, yes.
Chris Price, yes.
Ardor, Mr. Yes.
Rob Casemeyer, yes.
And Susan Franklin, yes. All right, everybody. I hope that you enjoy your holidays. I'm sure we'll cross paths a little bit during the next couple weeks, but everybody has to have a great holiday.
Okay, have a great Christmas. Christmas.
Yeah,
everybody.
take care now.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas, Chris.